Hey guys, before we start I just want to quickly say that I'm sorry the way the last video turned out. No one's watched it yet. Don't know why, but yeah, no one's watched it yet. But if you do watch it, I thought I'd try my microphone in a different place. I cleared some space on my TV cabinet and managed to put it on there, so it wasn't on the floor, because I don't really like having it on the floor. It seems a bit like I'm being careless, so I put it on there. But then the only problem with that is the only place I could put it where it wasn't blocking my view was right at the edge, which is where my PC is. And unfortunately on the last video it just picked up the noise from my PC. You can still hear me perfectly fine, but the sort of like background noise is a lot louder than it normally has been. However, I've rearranged my room a bit. I've now got a table in front of the TV cabinet. My microphone is now on the table, so hopefully we'll be good. I'm just going to check my phone volume is off, because I'm still in the process of selling my car. I haven't managed to do it yet, so I've got my volume on in case someone rings me about it. But anyway, we're doing the European Open in the Amateur League. We won the Lancia Delta last time, so we're going to use that. Yeah, I did find it funny how Horizon 5, when they basically did, like, before the game came out, and they did that video to showcase like how good the new sounds were. In that video they had a Lancia Stratos, but when the game released, Lancia, Alfa Romeo, Fiat and that weren't in it. Obviously the reason for that is because during the game's development, the Fiat Chrysler group was purchased by Stellantis, so Playground Games no longer had the rights to the Lancia Fiat name, so they would have had to reapply for the rights via Stellantis. Obviously that takes time, so by the time the game released, Fiat and Lancia weren't actually in the game. But yeah, obviously they are now. They added them a few years after, but yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm driving a Lancia. This Lancia made me think of that. Yeah, it's a shame really that they stopped making Lancias in this country. I know. Are they still going? I think they are still around. They just make like rebadged Fiats and stuff. I don't think they like. Well, that's all part of Stellantis, isn't it? They all make the same things. It's like General Motors, Cadillac, Chevy, Pontiac when they were still around, Holden, Vauxhall. They were all making the same stuff. Yeah, it's a shame actually Holden got killed off as well. I thought it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago now. It was a while ago. Might be even longer ago than that, but yeah, it's a shame really a lot of good car brands end up being killed off due to corporate greed. You know, obviously General Motors for some reason felt that Pontiac wasn't worth keeping, so they killed it off. I mean, maybe their sales numbers weren't as good as other cars, but not being funny, if Pontiac had actually made their own cars, they might have sold better. But to be honest, literally, it's not just General Motors, it's everyone. Every single car now is just a rebadged version of another car. Like, with the exception of, you know, like supercars like McLaren and stuff. McLaren are obviously on their own. Ferrari are owned by Stellantis, but I don't think they build anything that's part. I think all of their cars are their own cars. Obviously Ferrari used to own Maserati, but then when Stellantis bought the Fiat Chrysler group, which also included Ferrari let go of Maserati, so I think Maserati are now independent. But I did hear rumours not long ago that they were really struggling. I don't know if that was true or if they've managed to resolve it. I don't know, because I think this was, because I think like the first car they made without Ferrari's help was the MC20. That was the first car they made, like that was 100% their car. And it was their own. They built the engine from scratch. Yeah. I mean, it was a good comeback, you know. But they need to do another OC12, you know, because that's what Maserati were back in the day. Road legal race cars. That's literally all they were. And then obviously in the 80s they went downhill a bit, got a really bad reputation. Made a couple of good cars since then, and you know, people kind of lost interest in them. But then I think obviously in recent years they've started like making just normal conventional cars like the Ghibli, the Quattroporte, and the Levante. I guess the Quattroporte at least was always like the family car. I guess I know it was quick, but it was just like a Maserati's answer to the M5. But the Ghibli, they completely ruined that. I mean, in the 60s, the Ghibli was a proper beast. You know, V8 powered muscle car. You know, great, brilliant car. And then obviously they brought the Ghibli back in the, was it the late 80s, early 90s? I think it was around then. I mean, obviously it wasn't anywhere near as good. It only had a V6, and it would have been the Citroen V6 as well, because that was around the time that they were with Citroen. But at least it was still a coupe, you know. It was still, you know, still a sports car. It was just not as, it's just a bit wet. But then obviously when they made the latest one, it was a saloon. Which I didn't understand, because they had the Quattroporte. They were still making the Quattroporte, and that was a saloon. So why didn't they just have the Quattroporte and then make the Ghibli a coupe? But then I suppose they might have been worried that if they did make the Ghibli a coupe, it might have outsold the killed it off and replaced it with the Ghibli. But then obviously the Ghibli never had a V8. So I guess really in that sense then the Ghibli was basically the poor man's Quattroporte, because the Quattroporte you could get with a V8, but the Ghibli was V6 only, I think. I'm not sure, I could be wrong. I don't think they did like a trophy version or a Trofeo version, whatever. But yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Maserati. This is the problem with ADHD. You go on a massive tangent and then you just start talking about random crap that no one really cares about, which is why hardly any of us have friends. Yeah, these videos aren't doing as well as they were. Like, I think the Rally Sport Challenge, the point-to-point one, I think that's still my most viewed video, with the exception of the Racing Games Turning 20. But yeah, this series isn't doing too great. I don't know if it's just people don't care about this game, but I don't know. It's hard being a YouTuber, trying to find content that you enjoy making, but also that people would enjoy to watch, but also doesn't blatantly copy or feel like every other YouTuber on the planet. You know, I mean, after I finish this, I'm gonna focus on the Need for Speed games, and I don't know, maybe Need for Speed will be more popular. I don't know. I know Need for Speed Most Wanted will probably be pretty popular, the original one, but there is a small problem with that. The Xbox 360 version, which is the one I would likely get, is about 50 quid online, and by the time, you know, it's just going to keep going up, because a couple of years ago it was about 20 quid, and to be honest I wish I bought it then, because now it's like more than twice as much as that. I think my like the UK's sort of version of GameStop called CEX. It was £22, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago, and now it's 48. So it's more than twice as much. And if it's doubled in just a couple of years, by 2026 it'll probably be about 70 quid. So I wish I had bought it 2-3 years ago when it was 22 quid, but oh well. And the annoying thing is, I ideally would want the black edition, because that's got like more cars on it, but I dread to think how much that would be, because I have a feeling they didn't make many copies of that. It was quite a limited run. So if the standard game is 50 quid, the black edition will be about 300. But yeah, you never know, I might get lucky one day. I mean, obviously I know emulators exist and stuff, but for some reason on Xenia Canary, Most Wanted didn't seem to run very well for me. I don't know if it's just a dodgy ROM, but the sound cut out during the opening. Like, it played fine, but the sound cut out during the opening intro bit, and it didn't come back on. So that's why I don't know if anyone noticed, but on the video I did of games turning 20, I actually used the PS2 ROM for Most Wanted. Even though the graphics are probably worse, but although on an emulator it doesn't really make a difference, because the car models are still the same. It's just the Xbox 360 itself has better graphics than the PS2. But yeah, so on the actual video I use the PS2 version, but I don't know if you can actually tell the difference. So on an emulator anyway, obviously in real life you would. But I saw a post today as well saying how the last real sort of major graphics jump was between the PS2 and PS3 era, because the difference from PS3 to PS4 and PS4 to PS5 isn't that different. I mean, obviously it is, but the difference was a lot smaller. So like, I mean, PS3 was like what, 1080p, PS4 was probably like 1440, but then obviously the PS4 Pro was 4K, then the PS5 is also 4K, but the PS4 Pro was 4K. So yeah. Anyway, that's the European Open done, and we get a AE86, another car which is pretty much useless. I think I've already said that on the last video actually, but yeah. We're going AE86, so we can go and deliver some tofu on Fujimi Kaido. I'm just trying to figure out if I have enough time to record another video or not. It's been about 20 minutes. Well, this video is only 13 minutes long. Yeah, they're not going to be very long, these early ones, because like I said, the championships are only 3 races long, and each race is only like 2 or 3 laps, so it's going to take what, 10 minutes to do the whole thing. Obviously, as we progress, they will get longer, and it might get to a point where I have to split it into 2 videos. Obviously, I'll record it in one go, but I might have to split it into 2. That's, especially the endurance races, or I might keep the endurance races as they are. I don't know, it depends. Anyway, if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. Next video will probably be that one, Football Drive, and I'll